In this video, we're going to make a shadow box with a gnome and the forest and lights, the one that was on the cover, obviously. So the first thing you're going to do is open your Cricut design space, and then you're going to go, hopefully you've already downloaded that file, and then once you've downloaded it, you unzip it, which just basically means you uncompress it and make it so you can access all the files. And then you're going to go over here to your upload, and you're going to click upload image and then browse to find where it is that you've got that file. So in this case, mine's in a file called Gnome Shadow Box, and you want the SVG. So that's this one here. These will be the options that you see inside that folder when you unzip it, and you're going to click on SVG and then open. And it should show you an image like this. Basically, it's saying that, is this what you want to bring into Design Space? And you're going to say yes, upload. You can change the name right there if you wanted to. You don't have to. Then you're going to click on this shape or this image so that you get this green bounding box around it, and then you're going to add to canvas. And it's going to put your little gnome on the canvas. Now it's currently sized for 9 inches wide and then 9 inches height. It throws in this little extra every now and then. If you want to resize for a different size shadow box, like a 12 by 12 by 12 wouldn't quite work. You'd have to cut it at 11.5 or an 8, because those are the common sizes for shadow box. Make sure that you lock this ratio so that whatever you do to the width will also be done to the height, and it stays in proportion. Okay, so let's just bump this down to 8 just to show you how that works and see how this stayed in proportion. It even kept that little 4 10,000ths or whatever. You can get rid of that if you want to. You don't have to, but if it bugs you. But see how it changes this one just a little. That little percentage off is not going to hurt anything. Oops, I just added extra keys and then deleted stuff. Let's undo. Okay, so we have an 8-inch shadow box. That's this width right here. Okay, 8 inches, and then it's just going to be an immeasurable amount past 8 down. Not a big deal. Don't even worry about that. Okay, so then over here on the side, you're going to see all of your different layers. And if there's something in there that you don't want to mess with or cut, you can delete that while you're in here. These are a little tiny and kind of fidgety, but they're fun, so I left them in there. If you don't want to do it and you just want the solid part, you could delete these 2 top pieces here, and that would just get rid of the rings on the light bulbs. Trying to think. Oh, this is the bottoms of his shoes. Then you got the light cord, and then you've got his little hat piece here with the candies, and everything else should be good to go. If it seems like you've got too many shades of red and you just want to use one matte with one color of red, you can come over here to color sync and change your colors. So like in this instance, the green in the background of this holly or mistletoe, it's holly, is really similar to this green on the cord for the lights. So if you wanted to cut that from the same piece, you can grab this one and pull it up into this color palette right here. So now all 3 of those will be cut from the same shade of green. His gloves are kind of close in this. I don't know if you wanted to change that and make them more the color of the front of the holly, you could grab those and bring them down into the holly. So now you've only got 2 shades of green to mess with when you're cutting. So that'll only be 2 mats of green. This is the bottom of his shoes. I'm going to leave those. That's all of the light pieces. So then you've got the inside and outside of the candy. Like this is the background of the candy. This is that front circle of the candy. And then his legs are the same shade of red, which I kind of wanted those darker. And then his hat and his coat and clothes should all be the same, but Design Space picked 2 different shades for that. So if you want to, you can pull this one up there. Now they'll cut from the same piece of red. This is his nose. A tan or a cream is what I would use for that. And then these are the backs for the light bulbs. Those can all be a bright white, as well as his legs. So I'm going to pull those down into his legs. And then see, it just chose like a tiny off shade of white. I want it to be bright white, so I'm going to bring it down into this all F, like it's 6 Fs. That's like as white as it gets. So now everything that's supposed to cut white, white is going to cut white, white. Okay. So once you've got that cleaned up, then you can go ahead and click Make It. And you'll see how it organizes it out onto your boards for you. You're actually going to end up with 2 bright white cuts here just because there wasn't enough room for both on there. This is the very, very back background, and then you've got a layer of snowflakes that's a bright, bright white, as well as that snow that he stands in. And then everything from there, you can either choose to make different colors. So you'll notice these are all just in a monochrome of gray, and I did that because I wanted to make him pop in the picture, and I actually considered cutting it out that way. I'm going to cancel this and go back to the mats just to show you. You can ungroup all of these, and then if you want, you can change the colors of these backgrounds now so that you know what color mat to grab when you're ready to cut those. This is the very front of the box. On my sample, I turned that a really, really dark blue, kind of like a bluish gray almost. And then I'm going to hide that just for a second so I can see what this one is. I think, yep, that's the snowflakes. I want that to stay bright white. This one, just move it out so we can see. Are snowflakes closer to him? Hold on. Those are the ones we want to be bright, bright white. Oh no, we got these ones too. These ones are the ones closest to him. Then you've got a set behind him. So those ones I went just a little bit off-white so that it gave it the depth. And then you've got this one with the tree. And I think on that one I went like a dark, dark green. And hide that so that we can start to see our color scheme here. Okay. Yeah, so bluish for that first tree, green for the next one, and then a dark, dark in the back. And then I actually turned the way back yellow. So let's do this. We did, what's this one? It looks like, okay, so that's our way back. We're going to make that one yellow, a bright yellow, so that it looks like that moon's glowing back there. Then we did this one, a light icy blue, and this one, a dark, dark green. And I think, and then this way back one here is not quite black as night, but pretty close. So that's the colors I chose when I cut mine out. If obviously you can choose any colors you want to turn his background into something different. If you wanted daylight, you would obviously change this black one in the background to a different color. There, you've got all these options. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that the way it is and click Make It so that we can see this now on our color mats. So now this one switched. It was that solid white for the background, but that we turned that yellow. So now it's the snowflakes of solid white. This is just an outline background for your gnome, and it just helps you to piece him together. I just leave it on gray because you're already going to be cutting gray there. If not, you could change it to a color that you didn't mind, like you wanted to use up. And then that's the light gray for our snowflakes. Then we just go from there, and everything should cut accordingly. Looks like you're going to have 18 color mats total by the time you're done. A lot of these are just little scrap pieces that you wouldn't need much of a piece of paper at all for, so hopefully you've got some scraps to use for that. So then we're going to continue on. I've already cut mine. We're going to go ahead and put it together. Okay, so here we have the the cut pieces of the gnome shadow box. I've already assembled him. I'm going to do a pop dot for his nose. I have another nose piece. And then you've got all the layers. So there's the back layer, the moon, the trees, some like sticks and branches, snowflakes in white, snowflakes in a light gray, and then the dark blue outline of it. And all you do next is just add some pop dots. So I'm going to just bring each layer in backwards and put them down. So this one I've already pop dotted just to save us some time. And you just, I'm using the foam dots because I don't have any of the foam tape. Obviously, if I'm going to make a few more of these, I need to get some. You just remove that. Okay. So then you just go ahead and line up your corners. and just lightly press so that it sticks to your back layer. And then you'll just do that with every single layer. So then I'm going to bring in the next one, which is the trees. Make sure you do it backwards of what the design is. So this will be forwards. So I'm going to flip it over, add some dots. Okay, so the backing's removed on each of those. And you're ready to line it up and assemble again. So just line up your edges. I usually just start in the bottom corner, kind of get it as straight as I can, and then along the bottom edge as well. Press those down. And the next layer, this blue one. I use a paper that kind of has a texture to it. I think it's the American Crafts cardstock. And that way I know that the side that's more textured is usually my front, so then I can just flip it over and go ahead and add my adhesive or dots or whatever. Okay, so we've got all the dots or all the adhesive stuck on the next layer. And you can, as we talked about when we're actually setting this cut file up, change these layers to any layer you want. When I actually designed it, I designed it in grays, and the monochrome was gorgeous. I probably, if I were to make another one of this design, I would do it in the monochrome of just different grays and whites. Okay, so then this one is unfortunately not textured, but I know that the snow goes from bottom right to bottom or top left. So it should look like that when it's on. So now I'm gonna flip it over, add my glue dots or my foam dots. Okay. So now the white one's all done. Add that, top corners. And have a light gray snowflake. This one's textured, so I know which one's front and back. Okay, so now that one's done. I'm gonna go ahead and put it down. I think actually taking those backings off those foam pieces are probably a longer process than actually cutting out the shape itself. Seems like kind of tedious. I want to stick too soon. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting some really pretty layers there and that nice 3D effect. You can see down inside there now. And all of our pop dots. We've got one more layer. It's the last one. The kind of cover of everything. And it's in, I did it in a pretty dark sky blue, like a night blue. Dark gray would be really nice too. I had one that way, and then I don't know what I got on it, but I stained it, so I had to recut. That's what happens when you craft on the kitchen table. And then for my gnome, I'll probably use a little bit of glue. I'm not sure if I want him popped all the way out. I'm still deciding. I'm definitely going to pop his nose. Okay, so now just line up this last one. Just a little. Should be good. Okay, so let's put a little pop dot on his nose. I don't know if you can see it in the video very well, but I used Tombow, the green Tombow, and I am not a fan. I don't know if it's because I'm messy and I get it all over my fingers, but I seem to get like glue residue that's like gooey on everything, and it drives me nuts. So unfortunately I pieced him with the Tombow glue. Okay, so he can either sit in here like this. It looks like he's gonna need a few pop dots so he doesn't fall into the background. I think I want him to be behind the snow a little. Maybe not. Maybe just right on top of it. So I'm gonna actually stack 2 pop tops so that he's thicker. So there's one. And then just double layer them. Oreo double stack. I just gotta take the adhesive thingy off. And maybe, let's see where his arm falls before I put him down. Yeah. So put one out here on his arm too, and then I'm debating his feet because they kind of get glued to that, to this layer. It looks like it falls pretty nicely there. Maybe one more on his hat. Oh, he's pretty good. I think we're good. 3 should keep him pretty secure too. Take those off. And then line him up. Right there. And then stick him down. There you have it. Now you just go ahead and put that in one of your frames. I'm going to actually experiment with some light behind it and see if it shines through. I don't think it's going to shine through the cardstock as well. We'll see though. You got all kinds of pretty layers in there. And if you're interested in other shadow boxes and layered paper art like that to put into shadow boxes, there are more in the shop. Thanks for watching.